Hi and welcome. My name is Tolan and I'm the co-founder of Productivity Neat. In this video, we're going to look at a series of 7 keyboard shortcuts in order to more efficiently work with the active cell within Microsoft Excel. We're going to look at things like selecting only the active cell with the keyboard shortcut Shift Backspace. We'll then discuss the idea of how to show your active cell on a worksheet without deselecting anything with the keyboard shortcut of Ctrl Backspace. We'll then look at a series of 5 keyboard shortcuts in order to move between individual items in your active selection with things like Control period, Enter, Shift Enter, Tab, and Shift Tab. So if any of these tips, tricks, and keyboard shortcuts are interesting to you, be sure to join us in this video. All right, let's get started. If you want to follow along, you can download the copy of Apple Inc. Income Statement 2015 by going to the description of this video and following the corresponding link. So, in the prior video, we looked at how to make a selection. We looked at things like Shift Spacebar for selecting a specific row, Shift Spacebar, or we looked at Control Spacebar in order to select an entire column. Now, if you wanted to, you can say select, let's say, this region here, and you want to really make sure that you have nothing selected but your active cell. Now your active cell is indicated here by the cell that's essentially in white. It's also indicated in the name box. Here it would be cell B5. So if we want to deselect everything but our active cell, we would go ahead and press the keyboard shortcut of Shift Backspace. Pressing the keyboard shortcut of Shift Backspace will deselect everything but our active cell. So say we have this selection here. Our active cell is now C12. We want to deselect everything but C12. We press the Shift key and the Backspace key. Now another situation might be you have a selection made, you're down somewhere in the weeds of your specific workbook and you want to show your active selection, but you don't actually want to deselect things. Now, if we were to go ahead and press the keyboard shortcut of Shift Backspace, it would show our active cell, but we'd lose that selection. So we want to show these cells, this range of cells, that of A8 to C12, but we don't want to lose the selection. Then rather than press Shift Backspace, like we did in the previous example, we'd go ahead and press Control Backspace. Control Backspace will just zoom to where our current selection is and show us that current selection without deselecting anything. So again, Shift Backspace will deselect and show. If we want to show but not deselect, we press Control Backspace. So pretty useful keyboard shortcuts, or pair of keyboard shortcuts there. Now, let's say that we were here and we wanted to cycle between the individual corners of our selection. Now, the fastest way to do that would be to press the Control key and the period key. This is going to allow you to go to the top right bottom edges of your individual selection. Now, if you just had one row selected, then pressing Control period would bump between these two individual items. Or if you had one single row selected, it would bump between the right and leftmost items selected. So Control period is a great keyboard shortcut. Now, if you want, you can go ahead and make a selection and then move down through your selection by pressing the Enter key. And if you want to move up in the opposite direction, you press the Shift key and the Enter key. Pressing Shift key and the Enter key would move it up in that direction. Now, if you want to move from your left to your right, you press Tab. In the opposite direction, you would move from right to left by pressing Shift Tab. So Tab, Shift Tab, Enter, Shift Enter, and then we also discussed the ideas of the keyboard shortcuts like Control period to move between the 4 corners, or the ideas of Control Backspace to show your active selection, or Shift Backspace to deselect everything but your active cell. So that, in a nutshell, is the 7 keyboard shortcuts that we most often use when working with an active cell. Now, perhaps you know some additional keyboard shortcuts that might be useful to the Productivity Me audience or to other YouTubers. If that's the case, go ahead and post those keyboard shortcuts, those tips, those tricks, those things that you get really excited about in the discussion section, or rather the comment section of this video. We look forward to seeing what you think, what you really like using in Microsoft Excel, and we will talk to you again soon. So in our next video, we'll look at a series of keyboard shortcuts that I think more or less the top 13, 14 keyboard shortcuts for extending a selection within Microsoft Excel. So you've already made a selection. How do you extend that selection? We'll look at ways to do that using keyboard shortcuts. So join us for that in the next video, and we will see you again soon. Thanks for watching.